Peace and love, family. I want to rise upon the seven and give all praises to the great God Allah and honors to his holy prophet, honors to our holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Al Hajj Sharif Abdul Ali, that is. I give honors to my Moorish kin once again, here, there, and everywhere. And therefore, honors to all of you who are continuously honoring yourselves by being yourselves. I give honors to my Grand National Seal, Grand National Emblem, National Flag, Divine Constitution, and bylaws, and honors to all of you who are a living manifestation and personification of everything that our holy prophet brought to make us a nation. And this particular measure that I have to bring forth, it deals with the sixth adept degree taken by the neophyte as he passes it, and he's dealing with this adept chamber, of the Eastern sages. And this is going to be brief because I have other matters to attend to. I want to start by going into this special measure, and it states, in all the land, there was no place more grandly furnished than the beauty parlors of the Temple of the Sun. Few students ever entered these rooms. The priests guarded them with awe and called them halls of mysteries. When Yehoshua had attained a victory over fear, he gained the right to enter here. The guide led on the way, and after passing many richly furnished rooms, they reached the hall of harmony, and there was Yehoshua left alone. Among the instruments of music was a harpsichord, and Yehoshua sat in a thoughtful mood expecting it, when quietly a maiden of entrancing beauty came into the hall. She did not seem to notice Yehoshua as he sat and mused, so busy with his thoughts. She found her place beside the harpsichord, and she touched the chords most gently, and she sang the songs of Israel. And Yehoshua was entranced. Such beauty he had never seen, such music he had never heard. And the maiden sang her songs. She did not seem to know that anyone was near. She went her way. And Yehoshua, talking with himself, said out, "What is the meaning of this incident? I did not know that such entrancing beauty and such a queen-like loveliness were ever found among the sons of men. I did not know the voice of an angel ever graced a human form, or the seraphic music ever came from human lips." For days he sat in trance. The current of his thoughts would change. He thought of nothing but the singer and her songs. He longed to see her once again. And after days she came, and she spoke and laid her hand upon his head. Her touch thrilled all his soul, and for a time forgot the work he was sent to do. Few were the words the maiden said. She went away, but then the heart of Yehoshua had been touched. A love flame had been kindled in his soul, and he was brought to face the sorest trial of life. He could not sleep, nor could he eat. The thoughts of the maiden came, and they would not go. His carnal nature called aloud for her companionship. And then he said, "Lo, I have conquered every foe that I have met. And shall I now be conquered by carnal love? My Father sent me to show, we're here to show the power of love divine, that love that reaches every living thing. Shall this pure universal love be absorbed by carnal love? Shall I forget all creatures else and lose my life in this fair maiden, though she is the highest type of beauty and purity and love?" Into its very depths his soul was stirred, and long he wrestled with this angel idol of his heart. But when the day was almost lost, his higher ego rose in might. He fought himself again, and then he said, "Although my heart shall break, I will not fail in this my hardest task. I will be the victor over carnal love." And when again the maiden came and offered him her hand, and heart. He said, Fair one, your very presence thrills me with delight. Your voice is benediction to my soul. My human self would fly with you and be contented in your love. But all the world is craving for a love that I have come to manifest. I must then bid you, go, but we will meet again. Our ways on earth will not be cast apart. I see you in the hurrying thrones of the earth as minister of love. I hear your voice in song that wins the hearts of men to better things. And then in sorrow and in tears the maiden went away, and Yehoshua was alone again. Instantly the great bells of the temple rang, and the grotto blazed with light. And the Hierophant himself appeared and said, All hail, triumphant Logos, hail the conqueror of carnal love stands on the height. And then he placed in Yehoshua's hand the scroll on which was written, Love Divine. Together they passed from the grotto of the beautiful temple, and in the banquet hall a feast was served, and Yehoshua was honored guest. I want to go into this in special measure because there were strong points that were made here. Now note, this was one that had went into a sacred room, a sacred temple of self-mastery. He was alone. There was no one with him, so this temptress actually existed in himself, in his own consciousness. And that's why you see me referring to understanding the meiotic temptress part and self within the self. Anybody that know what Maya is, or Maya, this is nothing more than what is known as illusion. And we already know what illusion, entails, what it brings upon. But when you're talking about an illusionary temptress within the self, because we know the nature of a temptress is to be enticing. The nature of a temptress is to be seductive. And oftentimes we would like to look at this as being a temptress outside of the self. We think that this is in the feminine form of a woman and so forth and so on. But in all actuality, this temptress actually exists within each and every one of us, be it male or female. And this temptress actually represents, the seat by which the matriculation of the mind, is tapped into, by our own, we'll say, weak thinking, those thoughts that lay dormant in the back of the mind and so forth and so on. There were powerful measures that were mentioned here. For one, it said that she had sung beautiful songs, right? And he was, pretty much alone. He was in a state of peace. And this tempter just came forth, right? It said that the current of his thoughts were changed. How many of us can speak to this when it comes to dealing with the current of our thoughts being changed from a particular situation, and going against, what it is that we actually should be standing for, what we should be representing? You see, that's a whole nother measure in and of itself, right? So when we come into that conception, understanding the meiotic temptress within the self, this is the allurement, this is the seduction, this is the enticement that causes your current of thinking to be misdirected or redirected away from your purpose, directed away from your mission, to cause you to stumble, so to speak. And all of us, will meet this test or have met this test, or some of us may be dealing with it right now. You see? Now, it went on, and it went so far to say that, she spoke and she laid her hand upon him, and we know the hand is symbolic to the mind, upon his head, and sent thrills and chills throughout him. This is that enticement. In most cases, what is enticing, what is seductive to one is what it is that one longs for in themselves. It's almost like the demonstration of Lot's wife, looking back, on those things that she shouldn't be longing for. And this causes, one to go into becoming as a pillar of salt, so to speak. They can become salty in their ways, salty in their acts, salty in their deeds. It can have to do with becoming bitter because one can't obtain what it is that one set out to obtain. This is the nature of the temptress. The temptress come to you with things that you long for. You long for freedom, so the temptress will bring you measures that will seem as if they are along those lines because that's your nature. The temptress will come to you with money. The temptress will come to you with, wealth, power, prestige. The temptress of the self, the temptress within you, not a woman outside of you, but the temptress, the meiotic, illusionary temptress within you will bring you pearls. You see, in things, everything that you want. Just anything that you think you long for. And then when you come to realization of what's going on, you have been misguided, misdirected, off of the path. So it don't really take long to tell the truth. And so, it's said that this mastermind, after his soul had become kindled with a love flame, he had to get over himself and begin to embrace the concept of love divine as opposed to dealing with carnal love. Because that's what the temptress of the self brings forth. It tempts you according to the things of the manifest in order to make you fall in love with those things that are fair seeming or alluring, and you become deadlocked into that. And we're using that terminology on purpose, and it actually ends up being a fatal attraction. It actually becomes something that is more destructive than we may know. But it said that this mastermind, this neophyte, Yehoshua at the time, his higher ego rose in might, and he found himself again. And he said, although my heart shall break, I will not fail. This is my hardest test. And I will be a victor over carnal love. So that's a powerful measure, Moorish Ken. He was almost taken, but his higher ego arose. His higher ego arose, not the lower self, not that carnal self that deal with carnal love. And this is what we must all do as masterminds. All of us will receive these tests, and all of us are charged to keep, our urges and our desires within check. That's why we use the compass. We draw a circle around our passions and desires to keep them within the bounds of righteousness, and therefore no one can mislead us, by means of what we are lured by. You see? So we just say be masterminds. And until the next time, like I say, we don't have to be long with this one. The degree speaks for itself. But notice that this is the first degree referred to, as, the adept chamber. And this is before you go into the last and seventh adept degree, which we'll be bringing to you at a later time. So that being said, Unqua Jet Sanel, peace, love, and prosperity be upon you. Life, health, and prosperity be upon you. And Shimo Tepu Moorish Ken. Gratitude. I just wanted to set that out there.